let's talk further about that story. Bring in SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena, and lots that's been going on, especially in the last 2 hours or so, among which is a report, Sophie, from the White House, which the White House at least says is fake news around a suggested idea that Trump was considering pausing the tariff implementation for up to 90 days. What's going on there?
Well, I think earlier on we were talking about that development where there was a leak that he's looking at putting a halt to for 90 days for all countries except China. So clearly the struggle here is between the US and China. But then they issued a statement that it's not true, it's fake news. So the question is, are we also seeing people trying to manipulate the markets because it is now vulnerable? Because after that fake news, the markets performed better in the United States of America. But they have since gone down again. It's red in the US because he has just announced that he intends to impose 50% tariffs again on China starting from tomorrow. If China doesn't withdraw the retaliation with 34% of the tariffs. And therefore now you see this war between China and the United States of America. He went further to say that he is closing all the engagement and the efforts to engage with China. And therefore from tomorrow we'll be waiting to see whether China will blink by withdrawing 34% tariffs, or are we going to see the implementation of 50% tariffs by President Trump's administration? And therefore, I think the world is in crisis. And I think some of the people we spoke to earlier on after Trump was elected as the president of the United States of America did warn us that it's going to be a rife ride.
So regarding US-China relations, we know tit-for-tat tariffs would not be a new thing. Even in Trump's previous term, before Biden came in, there was a similar scenario playing out. And now we've got this new standoff between them. Even in this, what the White House now says was a false report, it appeared that it would only be the Chinese who would still be levied, right, if there was that pause, which is now being denied. Is there a bigger geopolitical objective here, I wonder, from Trump and the White House in the ongoing battle between themselves and the Chinese for both influence and the coveted title of being the world's most powerful economy?
The world's most powerful economy, but also politically and military. And therefore, this is what this is all about. As you heard in that clip when Mbeki is explaining what analysts and economists are saying in the United States of America. He even went further to quote what President Vladimir Putin said last month in relation to what's happening in the world. And therefore, it is serious geopolitics and a scramble for power, for influence, and also who is number one. We know that the issue of trade war it's not new between China and the United States of America, as you pointed out. But now it has taken a different turn because the announcements that were made a week ago included many countries, including the France, the European Union. And earlier on, we saw European Union saying that they are going to engage United States of America to agree on the zero tariff, particularly on industrial products. We don't know. There you're talking about serious money. Whether President Trump will agree, we don't know, because he is very transactional.
What then about South Africa and the rest of the continent? Smaller economies, some of these economies have been levied, for example, the likes of Botswana, quite highly, 30% for South Africa. What do? Do they just sort of wait it out? Or do they also try to make means to get in touch with the Americans and perhaps strike a deal?
Well, I think it will be futile for smaller countries to go with a begging bowl to the United States of America. They will not be listened to because I mean, it depends who you are. And therefore, I think the better strategy will be SADC convening an emergency meeting to say, how do we work together to cushion ourselves in relation to this? Secondly, escalate it to the African Union, where an emergency meeting of heads of state and government can be convened after ministers of trade and industry have done their calculation and perhaps come up with a proposal in terms of how Africa can navigate this. Because smaller countries, he's not going to listen to them. I've just indicated that he is saying he is even closing doors for China, a massive and a number one economy. And therefore, it is a very difficult time.
SABC International Editor Sophie Mokoena, thank you very much, as always.